Today we are talking about a sweater aesthetic. And what I mean by that is what our preferences are when it comes to the kind of sweaters we have in our wardrobe and what works for us and what doesn't. And so today I thought I would share with you a bit of a reflection on my part concerning what has worked for me this past winter. Now that we're in the month of March and we're marching towards spring, I thought this would be a good time to share with you what I have experienced and what doesn't work for me and what I like instead. So I just thought I would share that with you. And today I am wearing a sweater that has a very large cowl neck. It can also go off the shoulder too, but that's not usually my preference. But it's very soft, it's very cozy, it's very warm. Today we are, I'm not sure what the high is, but this morning it's been a little bit on the chilly side and it's really windy. So I decided to wear this sweater because it's very, very warm and cozy. Now the thing that I like about this sweater is that even though there's a little bit of room in the sleeves, they only come down to the wrist, so I don't have to cuff them, which is kind of unusual for me because oftentimes when I buy a sweater, I have to cuff it if the sleeve is a little bit too long, which happens a lot because I'm a petite size. But anyway, so this sweater is not a petite size, but it is something that works for me. It fits well. It's very soft, it's very warm, and I don't have to cuff the sleeve, which is great. So there's just a little tiny bit of bulk to it, but not overly much. When I tried putting like a lightweight wrap on top, which I can show you, I tried putting this on top and it just didn't feel quite right to me. So I decided not to wear a wrap today because the sweater speaks for itself, if you will. And I decided to wear white jeans with brown knee-high boots with it. And I'm also wearing a ribbed tank underneath it for warmth. So, and a white lace scarf, just to throw that in there. And I also chose to wear some pearlesque kind of jewelry with some gold. So that was my choice for today. But I do have a bunch of sweaters here that I wanted to go over with you just a little bit so that I can share with you my experience with the varying types of sweaters in my wardrobe and what I was drawn to and what I wasn't and why. So our first one up, this is a sweater that I've had for a while, probably maybe 10 years. It is made from a very soft yarn, which is one of the reasons why I bought it, because it's very soft. It has a nice color scheme to it with varying hues of brown with white, which works for my color palette. This one has a very bulky sleeve. Very bulky sleeve. It's very thick, and I usually have to cuff it when I wear it, so that makes it even bulkier. And it also doesn't work especially well wearing a wrap on top. I mean, I've done it before. It's not my preference. And I don't really pull for this on a regular basis because of the bulk. I mean, it's very soft, it's very warm, it's very cozy, but when it comes to the silhouette itself, it doesn't really work for me because I love wearing wraps on top of things. It's just one of the things that I really like in my wardrobe, and this does not really work all that well with that because the sleeves are so bulky and they kind of stand out when you're wearing something on top of it. So that's one of the reasons why I don't pull for it necessarily on a regular basis. And the sleeves are very wide, so that makes it very bulky too on top. Now this is just a circle neck sweater, so you know, there's always the undergarment that has to be worn, whether it's just a tank like what I'm wearing here. So then that adds to the bulk as well. Okay, so that's the first sweater. Now I want to show you a cardigan sweater that I've had for a little while. This one has very long sleeves, and it also has a little bit of a wideness to it. And they have to be cuffed. So that makes it very bulky. And it's also very dark. And I don't necessarily like the darker color like that, although I do wear black, which is the darkest of colors. But as far as this is like a turquoise hue, so and it also has pockets, but they're very low down, so they're not necessarily very practical as far as the pocket height goes. And it's just very bulky to me. So I have not pulled this out maybe once this winter. Now I have kept it because I have a pair of dark turquoise jeans that work with it really well. And so I have worn it, and I do have garments to wear with the sweater that have dark turquoise. So it works with my color palette, but not necessarily with the silhouette. Okay, now we're gonna go to this one. Now this is also a circle neck sweater, and it also has a bulky sleeve. And I don't remember if I have to cuff it. I probably do cuff it when I wear it. And it has some side detail to it, some crisscrossing, which is what attracted me to the sweater, other than the fact that I really love the color. The color palette works for me. It's like a burnt orange, which is one of my favorites, but it's also bulky. So although I've worn it, it's not my favorite because of the bulk when it comes to the sleeve. And one of the practical issues that I have to deal with is I hand wash dishes. And so when I have these bulky sleeves that I have to roll up and then I have to put a sleeve cuff on it, it makes it very uncomfortable for me. So that's why I don't necessarily pull for the circle neck sweater with the bulky sleeve. Yeah. And now we have this one. Now this is a newer piece that I added to my wardrobe this winter. It's got a very high neck, cowl neck to it, and it's a cable knit, and I don't have to cuff the sleeve unless I want to, which is great. And it also has a really nice detail with the ribbing going on an angle toward the middle, which I like. And it's not excessively bulky. I mean, it does have a wideness up here, but when it comes down to the bottom of the sleeve, it has ribbing. So it's more comfortable that way, and it doesn't feel as bulky. So this one, it has really worked for me this winter. I've actually worn it quite a few times because of that. And then the last sweater that I have to give as an example, I've had this one for a very long time. It's been in my wardrobe for, I don't know, 15 years, maybe 20. I've had it for a very long time. And so the one thing that I really like about this is that it also has the ribbing on it. And this one has a very interesting design dynamic to it because of the way it crisscrosses on the front. And there's also ribbing on the sleeve all the way down. And the sleeve is very narrow, and I don't have to cuff it, which is wonderful. So there's not a lot of bulk to this sweater. It's also lighter weight, which works really well with wraps. I can wear a wrap over it and it works beautifully. So the silhouette works really nicely for me. The color is in my color palette, although I don't wear off-white very often, but it works for me in the winter for sure. And it's also a circle neck, and it's comfortable. It also has a little bit of a split on the bottom, so there's a little peekaboo effect too. So I like this sweater. I've worn it a few times, quite a few times this winter, because of the fact that it's not so heavy and bulky, and it just works with my aesthetic because I like the silhouette and it's comfortable. So those are my examples of what works and what doesn't with my sweater aesthetic. You are welcome to leave a comment below and share with me what your sweater aesthetic is. Do you like the big, bulky, warm sweaters, the cable knits, the lighter weight ones, and why? You're welcome to share. I'd love to hear about it. So thank you for joining me for this fashion styling video as we talk about our sweater aesthetic. You're welcome to check out my Fashion Styling with Dawn playlist if you would like to watch more tips and styling from me. And you're also welcome to visit my website at dawnherring.net, where I have the Fun with Fashion page, because I am wanting to be your source for fashion styling tips and for learning what your fashion aesthetic is, so that when you pull something from your wardrobe, you know exactly what you're going to wear and you feel confident. So you have yourself a delightful day. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to have fun with your fashion.